Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. This is going to be game 4. Game 4 between Yuey and Gosufer. Up right in corner, we got Gosufer starting as the gray Protoss. Bottom left in corner, we got Yuey starting as the yellow Zerg. This is BSL 20 Hasuleague, and it is the 3rd and 4th place match. This is going to be on Deja Vu. Be one of those interesting maps. The games have been fast and furious. So we had one end very, very rapidly. We've had other ones that, honestly, over the long haul, Gosufer has done such a great job of mid-game zealot assaults. Yuey just has been caught off guard, hasn't had troops in position to deal with it, hasn't been able to fend them off quite well. Every time Gosufer has got a successful zealot assault out on the map, Yuey has more or less fallen behind and not been able to catch back up. Counter-wise, whenever Yuey has gotten early game aggression, been able to get Hydralisk in position, Zerglings snuck into the base, it's been victory for him. And we'll see what happens in this match. Cross positions, so that might suggest that Gosufer is on his way to a 3rd place finish here. Again, I believe this is still a best of 5. Overlord sneaking its way out to bottom right. Looks like we're seeing a clockwise scout from Gosufer. It's kind of funny that it's like a counterclockwise and clockwise thing. I have more trouble with that than right and left, which I suppose is, but I always have to do the cycle of the clock thing to remember, which makes sense. I mean, it's in the name. Meantime, we do have a 9-pool opener once again for Yuey, so Yuey wanting some aggressive Zerglings out on the map. This is going to be, it's kind of, when you think about it in terms of gateway. So Forge opener, by the way, and I do believe Gosufer is going to end up with last scout, so might end up scouting this at the very last point. Might need to pull some some probes off the line to defend initial 2 cannons, which will be necessary. But at cross positions, he's going to have plenty of time, a lot of space to make that happen. So this might be detrimental for Yuey overall. Whenever you're going with that aggressive opener, you want horizontal spawns, you want close spawns. You want bloodbath situations, if you guys remember that map from back in the day. Many people might not, but it's just basically completely Zerg favored, very, very flat. Not a lot else happening to it. Spawning pool has been spotted. First cannon up. Second cannon up at kind of a diagonal slant. Nice little checkerboard. Yuey has initial drone scout, has found his opponent. Is he going to start working on the cannons? Sometimes you'll see that with the initial drone. Probe attacking that hatchery to try to draw some Zerglings off. The 4 Zerglings away. It looks like Yuey not wholeheartedly going for this, because 2 Zerglings are going to stay behind and go ahead and block that ledge. But still dedicating the 2 additional Zerglings forward because he wants to make sure that there's not a cannon cancellation on the front from Gosufer. So wants to make sure, and actually it's kind of cute actually with that cannon a little bit behind, because that might encourage a Zergling to go a little bit deeper than he would be willing to otherwise, to see whether it's 2 cannons or not. But anyway, Nexus now on the way, and we should see the gateway planted shortly here from Gosufer. In the meantime, Probe stealing a little bit of mineral, well, it's trying to steal a little bit of minerals from that mineral pile. The Zerglings cycling their way back. We do have a hatchery up at the 6 o'clock location, so it looks like we are sidling back into more of a macro-oriented opener for both players. In most instances that we've seen up to this stage, Gosufer has had more success in these conditions. We'll see if that continues, or if we're going to move on to a game 5. Gas grabbed pylon along the way, and the Overlord taking quite a lot of time to make its way in position to get additional scouting information. And the probe thus far rejecting the advances of these Zerglings. Some Zerglings even taking a break. They're a little bit tired from all that jogging. You know what would be an interesting RTS actually? Is an RTS, an active RTS like this, but one where your units actually have active fatigue. So you run them out, and they have like a little bar, and then they can't sprint anymore. They got to walk. They're a little bit worse at firing. That would be a really annoying mechanic, but at the same time, I think it would be really interesting. Anyway, and a little bit more true to life, I guess. Do you want a true to life punishing mechanic like that? Anyway, Hydralisk has been plopped down. We might see a 973 in the space of this. The probe has been ushered out to the north right this second. Overlord making its way towards the northern position. Overlord also near the natural expansion. Second gas has been dropped once again, so it looks like we're going to see a heavier tech opener. Gateway planted in the midst of this. The probe hasn't been able to get a lot of additional information, and it might be a little bit late coming back across to verify the drone count. We do have 2 drones, so this is actually if it was going to be in the space of it. So we got 9, we got, oops, is that right? 6, 962. So a little bit lighter if the Hydralisks get produced. And usually when you see this, it's not a major dedication of Hydralisks. It's just to go ahead and pick off that front forge and that front gateway. Probe is cycling its way across, is able to verify that there's in fact 6 probes, in fact going to attack one of them. So, wow, actually all the drones pulling across that line, getting a massive, and the probe still lives. That was actually big to see that first Hydralisk pop. Zerglings scrambling their way towards the front, and this is going to give, yeah, the forewarning to Gosufer that he might want to drop. He's dropping a additional cannon, I think because of the drone count. We do have 3 drones here at the 6 o'clock, and sometimes you can sneak an extra drone on location here to kind of mask overall, but we'll see if this is a larger Hydralisk dedication or less. From Gosufer's point of view, he's going to go ahead and drop preventative cannons and pylons. Either way, save some minerals to maybe drop additional, but he's managed, wow, look at this, has managed to sneak Zealots all the way around as Yuey spot them to the 12 o'clock to draw his Hydralisk back. So, yeah, so Corsair making its way out, the Zealots go unspotted by Yuey. That's unfortunate. So starting to work on this, these Zealots could get a lot of damage done on top of everything else. This, oof. Big X factor here. So Hydralisk's working on the gateway. Might be able to get the forge, but Gosufer's gonna hold, and in the meantime, these Hydralisks have a long way to trek. Finally have discovered the Zealots. Drones evacuating that natural expansion well ahead of this, so that's a lot of lost mining time. And it's gonna be a while before there's enough Hydralisks to deal with all this. One Zealot getting into the main. Is he gonna get a drone kill? Does get a drone kill. Hydral's trying to blockade, and Yuey, in response to that, going ahead and jumping on the natural expansion, taking out a lot of the cannons. 1 cannon remains. The probes have pulled off the line, potentially a little bit late. Corsair was working on the Overlord. Another cannon drop. Probes still doing what they can against the Hydralisks on the front. Cannon's gone, but there's only 1 Hydralisk and 1 Zergling left, and with the probes alone should be able to defend this. So cycling back, able to wipe out that Zergling. Now it's lone Hydralisk versus vicious probes. Have to be careful and do what they can. We have another group of Hydralisks making their way out, but we have 3 cannons on the way, and they should finish and be there in plenty of time. And between that, Gosufer taking a big lead in the midst of this. Looks like the Zealots were cleaned up. Nice distraction turnaround there from Yuey to keep himself in this, but he's we'll see how it continues from here. Forge is going to get wiped out. Do we have a forge dropped in the background? Additional gateway. Actually, there's no gateway. We do have a forge in the background of this. So Yuey still might have a chance here to press in and wipe out his... He's got a good amount of Hydralisk once the second round arrives. Without a lot of Zealot support and without Psystorm, Gosufer might end up in a detrimental situation here. So nice job sneaking the Zealots around, but honestly, I don't think the Zealots got enough damage to keep him alive. In the space of this, cannon gonna start shooting those Hydralisks as soon as they're finished. And now, here we go. Probe's gonna have to draw back once again. 2 cannons down, 3 cannons, 4 cannons, 3 remain. Hydral's drawn back, doesn't look like their entire forces were to bear. Probe scrambling across. This is still costing a lot of mining time, but the rest of the Hydralisks are starting to group up. So now, it is a war of attrition. Do the cannons finish or not? Cannons... Top cannon being taken out, 2 remain, 1 cannon pops, 1 is left, and that is it. We got a few cannons left, not a lot of Hydralisks left, but Yuey, if he regathers his attack force, should be able to finish this off. Where are the Zealots? The Zealots taking a lot of time to join this fray. They would absolutely need it here on the front. Hydralisk killing these cannons right as they morph. Now, Probe's getting some good damage at close proximity, but the front is continuing to fall. The Hydralisk numbers are continuing to grow. Yuey might have done it. The Zealots finally joining the fray at the front. Probe's trying to do what they can. Another cannon dropped. Protracted fight right here. Zealots do have Zealot leg speed, which is going to make them a little bit harder to deal with these Hydralisks, but not a lot of cannons left to defend. Pylon down in the midst of this, which is going to leave the surface area to drop a little bit less, and Gosufer recognizing he's not going to be able to hold, calling GG there. Gosufer takes the win. So now we are tied up. I think that's right. Yeah, tied up 2-2 going into game 5 for who's 3rd and 4th place. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.